Lord Valerius was a man who owned the horizon. From the marbled balcony of his villa, he could see his fleet of merchant ships, their sails like white specks against the blue, returning with silks from the east and spices from the south. He was a master of acquisition. He had built an empire of commerce from nothing. His name was spoken with envy and reverence in every port, but Valerius was a prisoner. He did not sleep. He found no joy in his wealth. His mind lived in a constant churning storm of anxiety. When his ships were at sea, he feared pirates and typhoon. When they were safe in port, he feared the markets would fall or that his captains would betray him. He was the richest man in the city, and he lived every moment in a state of quiet, agonizing terror. His greatest strength, his ability to plan for every possible future, had become his curse. He saw only danger. He was shackled not by chains, but by the very things he owned. One night, after walking his halls until dawn, frantic with worry about a delayed shipment, he heard a guard speak of an old man named Kaelen was once a master shipbuilder, the guard said, but he had given it all away to live in a shack on the shipwrecked coast, a treacherous stretch of shore where the sea relentlessly destroyed all that came near it. The guard mentioned, with a laugh, that the old man was perfectly, almost foolishly, happy. Valerius, desperate for any answer, journeyed to that coast. He found Kaelen, his feet bare in the sand, carving a small, intricate boat from a piece of driftwood. The old man's face was weathered, but his eyes were completely still, as calm as the deep ocean. "You are Kaelen Valerius," commanded, his voice tight. "I am Lord Valerius. I own a fleet of 70 ships. I am told you know the secret to peace. I will pay you anything for it." Kaelen glanced up, smiled slightly, and returned to his carving. "I have no secrets to sell, Lord." "Then how can you live here, in this place of endings?" Valerius demanded, gesturing to the splintered hull of an old ship rotting in the surf. "This sea is my enemy. It threatens everything I have built. How can you sit beside it, smiling?" Kaelen finished his work. He held up the small wooden boat. It was a masterpiece of craft, perfect in every detail. "And you," Kaelen said, his voice quiet, "how can you not be at peace? You, who have so much." "Because I might lose it," Valerius burst out. "The sea, the rot, the betrayal, it is all a constant threat. My joy is tied to every ship. When a storm comes, my heart is torn apart." Kaelen nodded, as if this was the most natural thing in the world. He then did something that horrified Valerius. He walked to the edge of the water and gently placed the perfect, tiny boat onto the surface. "What are you doing?" Valerius shouted. "The tide will take it. It will be destroyed." "I know," Kaelen said, watching as a wave caught the small vessel. "But the work, the time, it was perfect. You are letting it go." "Ah," Kaelen said, turning to him. "You see your ships as possessions. You believe you own them. You tie a rope from your heart to every hull. When the sea pulls a ship, it pulls your heart." He looked back at the small boat, now just a speck in the churning waves. "I see this boat differently," Kaelen said. "The joy was not in having it. The joy was in the carving. The joy was in the act of creation. The purpose of a ship is not to be owned. Its purpose is to sail. The sea will do what it will. It was never mine to keep. It was only my turn to hold it." Valerius stared, speechless. He watched the tiny boat vanish. He waited to feel the old man's loss, his anger, his anxiety, but Kaelen was only watching, his breathing slow and steady. There was no anxiety. There was only acceptance. In that moment, Valerius understood. He didn't own his fleet. His fleet owned him. When Valerius returned to his marbled villa, he was a different man. He still managed his ships. He still engaged in trade. But the ropes were cut. He found joy in the planning, in the launching of a voyage, in the craft of his work. But when the storms came, he slept. He accepted what he could not control. We are all Lord Valeri. Our ships are our jobs, our reputations, our relationships, our image of ourselves. We tie ropes from our hearts to all of them, believing we can control the sea, and we live in a constant state of anxiety, terrified of the storms that will inevitably come. We suffer not because we lose things, but because we believe they are ours to keep forever. The secret to peace is not to build a stronger fleet or a higher wall against the ocean. The secret is to learn the art of carving, to find your joy in the act of living, of loving, of creating, and then to have the wisdom to let it go, to build your boat, and then, with a peaceful heart, to set it sail.